Bones and the Cupcake Mystery. Chapter 1. Not me, Amy. Good morning, I said to Mr. Green, the bus driver. Good morning, Detective Bones, Mr. Green said. That's me. I'm Jeffrey Bones. I'm a detective. I solve mysteries. Once I even helped Mr. Green find his big yellow bus. Sit with me, Not Me Amy called. I liked Not Me Amy, so I sat with her. How are you? She asked. Cold, I said. Not me, Not Me Amy said. I'm hot. She always says, not me. That's why she's called Not Me Amy. I looked at Not Me Amy. She had on a coat, a hat, gloves, and a scarf. You're hot, I said, because you're dressed for winter and you're sitting in a heated bus. Not Me Amy took off her hat, scarf, and gloves. She opened her coat. Then she opened her lunch bag and took out her sandwich. You like American cheese on white bread, she said. Yes, I do, I told her. Not me, Not Me Amy said. I like this. It's apple mint jelly on whole wheat bread. Yuck, I thought. Not Me Amy showed me the rest of her lunch. She took out kiwi slices, grapefruit juice, and a spinach noodle cupcake with green icing. Yuck, I thought again. Well, I said, look what I brought. I opened my detective bag. A code breaker, detective powder, and a walkie-talkie, I said, and took everything out. Jeffrey, Amy, Mr. Green called to us. Aren't you going to school? Mr. Green had stopped the bus in front of the school. All the other children were already off the bus. Oh my, Not Me Amy said. Let's hurry. We quickly put our things away and hurried off the bus. Chapter 2, Apple Mint Jelly. Good morning, Mr. Gale said. He's our teacher. He's so nice. Every day he lets me take one thing from my detective bag and keep it on my desk. What will it be today, Mr. Gale asked. I looked in my bag. Detective powder, I said, and took it out. I may need it. I knew I would need my book, so I took it out too. We read in class, and Mr. Gale taught us math. Math is about numbers. Then he gave us homework. Jane said, I hate homework. Someone said, not me. I love homework. And you know who that someone was? It was Not Me Amy. At lunch, I sat next to Not Me Amy. I took out my sandwich, American cheese on white bread. Not Me Amy took out hers, apple mint jelly on whole wheat bread. Yuck, I thought. She drank her grapefruit juice. Yuck, I thought again. She put on her gloves, reached into her lunch bag and said, Hey, who took my spinach noodle cupcake? Chapter 3, The Paper Towel Clue. We don't take things that don't belong to us, Jane said. Tom said, we also don't eat spinach noodle cupcakes. Jane said, this is a mystery. I opened my detective bag. It's not in there, Not Me Amy said. I knew that. Of course your cupcake is not in here, I said. Detective powder is. I sprinkled powder on the table. I looked at it for clues. Jane, Tom, and Not Me Amy looked too. You're not solving a mystery, Tom said. You're making a mess." Tom was right. I was making a mess. I went to the kitchen to ask Mike for paper towels. "Hi," he said to me. Then he gave me a cup of carrots. "They're good for your eyes," he told me. "Thanks," I said. I reached into the cup. "Hey, look," I said and laughed. "My carrots have bones in them." Mike looked at me, but he didn't laugh. "It's a joke," I told Mike. "My name is Bones, and my hand was in the cup of carrots." "Oh," Mike said. "You know," he told me, "a carrot is a vegetable, and vegetables don't have bones." I knew that. I told Mike about the mess on the table and asked if I could have some paper towels. "Sure," Mike said. He reached for a roll of towels and it fell. Even before the towels hit the floor, I thought, that's it. I solved the mystery of the missing cupcake. Chapter 4. This is a mystery. I hurried back to our table. "Where did you put your lunch?" I asked Not Me Amy. "Right here," she said. She pointed to her lunch bag. "No, where was it while we were in class?" "It was in the closet," she said, "on the shelf above the coats." I smiled and told her, "The bag was open. Your cupcake fell out." Not Me Amy threw away her lunch bag. "Let's go," she said. "Not yet," I told her. "First, I had to wipe up the detective powder." When I was done, I threw away the towels in my empty lunch bag. Then Not Me Amy and I walked back to class. "Welcome back," Mr. Gale said. I told him about the cupcake. "This is a mystery," Mr. Gale said. "Do you think you can solve it?" "I already did," I said. Mr. Gale and Not Me Amy followed me to the closet. "There it is," I said, and pointed to the floor of the closet. "Where?" Not Me Amy asked. "Where?" Mr. Gale asked. Where? I wondered. Not Me Amy's cupcake was not on the closet floor. "It's okay," Mr. Gale said. "You can both have some of my dessert." Mr. Gale gave us some raisins. "It's not okay," I told Mr. Gale. "I must find that cupcake. I'm a detective, and detectives solve mysteries." Chapter 5. I don't need my code breaker. I thought about the cupcake and I thought about my detective bag. I wanted to use my code breaker to help me solve this mystery, but there was no code. I wanted to use my walkie-talkie, but who would I talk to? Then I looked at Not Me Amy. She wanted to eat the raisins. She wanted to, but she was having real trouble because she was wearing gloves. Gloves, I thought. I didn't need my code breaker or my walkie-talkie. I just solved the mystery, I said. I told Not Me Amy, "You weren't wearing gloves in class. You put them on at lunch." Not Me Amy looked at her gloves. "Where did you get your gloves?" I asked. "My mother gave them to me," she said. "Don't you keep your gloves in the pocket of your coat?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "You didn't have your coat at lunch. So where did you get your gloves?" I didn't wait for Not Me Amy to answer my question. "Your gloves were in your lunch bag." Mr. Gale said, "That's a strange place to keep gloves." He was right. He usually is. "On the bus this morning," I said, "we hurried to put our things away. I think you put your gloves in your lunch bag and your cupcake in your coat pocket." Not Me Amy went to the closet. She reached into the pocket of her coat, and there it was. She found her spinach noodle cupcake. Not Me Amy shared it with me and Mr. Gale. Guess what? Her spinach noodle cupcake tasted great. Not Me Amy promised to give me and Mr. Gale the recipe. The end. Good night, Sophie. Good night, Sammy.